Right, GoPro, let's talk. GoPro, my friends, my faithful companions, a company I adore so much, I went as far as to buy your hat. Which doesn't fit, by the way. Speaking less to the effectiveness of the cameras here and more to the fact that they're starting to lag behind their competition, such as the DJI Osmo and the Insta360 cameras. But on that point, GoPro shouldn't have competition in this space. They entered into it at a point in time when they had no competition. They've had so much time to monopolize it, so I want to take a look at why they haven't. So let's start with where it's all going right. The footage you get out of GoPro is still great. That I can blend GoPro shots with my DSLR and drone footage quite comfortably is so handy for getting those angles and shots I don't want to risk my camera on. Innovations like Hypersmooth work a charm, as you can see from the footage of me mobbing through the jungle on an ATV. I've not stabilized that, that's all been done in the GoPro itself. That streamlines my editing process, and when I do add further stabilization, it makes the footage look cinematic and, for lack of a better term, pro. Being able to capture video, photo, time-lapses, hyperlapses, night-lapses, and all the rest with just the change of a shooting mode in the settings makes for a streamlined experience I can't fault too much, other than the menu system being a little bit bloated. Then there's the GoPro subscription service. For less than your Spotify subscription a month, you get unlimited cloud storage, discounts on mounts, really valuable customer support, and £100 off a GoPro every year. It's a bit of a no-brainer if you're really into the brand. With the Hero camera, it seemed GoPro was poised to dominate the action camera space forever. Over the years, GoPro has taken far too many missteps. From shoddy product launches, the worst offender we'll get to later, to cameras that just aren't innovative enough. I actually skipped 7 generations of GoPro. From the Hero 4 to the 11, there just wasn't quite that spark there to draw me back in. There were innovations, sure, but most of those cameras could have been plus variants on the camera that came before, the Hero 12 being no exception. It should really just be the Hero 11 Plus. The HDR on the Hero 12 really isn't much to shout about despite it being the main focus of the marketing campaign, with the iPhone 15 actually shooting better HDR video, which I'd say is pretty embarrassing. It's no wonder GoPro's share price is in the tank. I think the real problem comes from the peripherals GoPro sells. Take the Volta grip and mic as an example. I went out to shoot this video in Singapore a few weeks back, but was thwarted when the Volta grip refused to connect. It then dumped all of its battery and wouldn't turn back on until I went back to my hotel and recharged it. I can't have that happening on a shoot, especially on a piece of kit I just bought. Then there's the mic. The audio quality is great, when it works. It's also a massive battery drain, making the grip a bit of a necessity. That's not to mention how cheap it feels. The GoPro itself feels premium. The mic feels like a cheap piece of plastic because, well, it is a cheap piece of plastic. Hello? Joel? Oh, you read the script. What do you think? What do you mean say something nice? Well, I'm only telling the truth. Alright, fine. Good point. I really like the new splash decal on the Hero 12. Then there's the sheer amount of cameras GoPro has released over the years. When I first stumbled upon this brand, it was the GoPro Hero 2, and that was it. A year later, the Hero 3 would come in white, silver and black variants, a trend that thankfully died after the Hero 4, but not before they also attempted to cram in the budget model of the GoPro Hero. This kind of thing is far too confusing to the average consumer, especially when such in-demand features like a touchscreen are reserved for the second-rate model and not on the premium. It's like GoPro had such quick and exciting innovation that instead of waiting until implementation of these great technologies was possible in the small form factor, they just went ahead and released loads of different models. and I can empathise with that. Sometimes I know I should hold some of my content back for the optimal time, but I get so excited to share that I'll often jump the gun. However, I am one man, a laptop and his camera. GoPro is a publicly traded company on the NASDAQ. Overbloated product launches and extras that don't quite make sense within the GoPro Be a Hero framework hurt the brand. Appealing to the masses and TikTok influencers has meant the extreme sports crowd have started looking elsewhere for their action camera needs. And man, the competition is fierce. Who remembers the GoPro Karma? No? That doesn't surprise me. If you do remember, you yourself or someone you know is a GoPro nerd. The Karma was GoPro's attempt at entering the drone market. It failed, miserably. Reports came in as soon as it launched of users watching their drones fly off into the distance, switch its own propellers off over water. You know, doing stuff that ends up costing people a lot of money. So it was canned, and now, today, DJI is the only player in the drone space. I was pumped that GoPro announced a drone, especially one with the entirely unique feature of having a removable hand gimbal built into it. That kind of thinking is so sick. In fact, I would go as far as to say it paved the way for DJI's newer drone models. I don't know if this is the case, but it was certainly the first foldable drone I ever saw. I think this was a turning point for GoPro. They tried to branch out of the action camera market at a time when they should have doubled down and secured it. There still weren't any other serious players in the space at the time, and they could have easily had a monopoly. Fast forward a few years and the Osmo Action and Insta360 cameras are taking over. I mentioned it in my camera bag video. The 11 Mini was such a miss. I showed you the camera is controlled from this screen. It's just not good enough. Granted, it's implemented well for what it is, but why isn't there just a smaller touchscreen on here? A non-removable battery? Come on! While the Enduro battery is awesome for the Hero 11 and 12, and I tend to be able to get through a whole day on one charge now, a huge improvement on the 12 to 13 batteries I used to have to carry in the Hero 4 days. The one in here just isn't fit for purpose. I tend to find I charge it up, then when I come to use it, it's completely drained itself. Like, come on, man. It could at least have a really fast charge on it, but it doesn't even have that. Then there's GoPro focusing on the media side of things. They had the perfect deal. Provide cameras that can go and capture what no other camera can, and just allow their community to advertise for them. I would suggest we all knew back in the day when we were looking at something that was shot on a GoPro. That signature fisheye lens capturing feats you just wouldn't risk your DSLR on. Somewhere along the way though, GoPro started investing in creating its own media channels, going so far as to have their own TV channels on airlines. GoPro CEO Nick Woodman is a great guy, who seems genuinely so stoked about every product he's launched. The guy is awesome, taking a disposable camera he strapped to his wrist for surfing to a now internationally recognised brand is so admirable. However, it's clear his innovative ideas are drying up, which leads me to believe it's time for a new face. We love what you've done, Nick, but it's time to reinvent the wheel and let GoPro get back to its roots. Probably, but only because it's a brand I genuinely care about. Born out of a love for action sports, something I myself love dearly through skiing, GoPro was well situated to dominate a space with no other players. Marching through a single-player game with the cheat codes enabled, they shouldn't have been stoppable. When the DJI Action 4 camera launched, I figured the Hero 12 would pull out something big, like a 1-inch sensor. But no. We got what is essentially a repackaged Hero 11, with a pretty missable HDR mode that doesn't even work across all of its shooting modes. But Gordon, if you don't like it, don't buy it. You've got me there. The Hero 11 seemed like a no-brainer, but I did hesitate with the Hero 12, almost opting for the DJI option. I do kind of wish I had. The Osmo has a bigger sensor, a wider field of view, it's got a smaller form factor, and it costs less. But alas, my brand loyalty got the better of me. With that said, if the Hero 13 isn't a leap, I will be making the jump over to DJI. And anyone who knows me knows I'm a big GoPro fangirl. Where is it? If I'm jumping ship, then it looks like the ship is looking at an iceberg. If I were GoPro, I'd quit trying to make the mics, the hand grips, and I would stick to the subscription service and getting those action cameras right. Go back to what worked with a loyalty program that brings your customers back in every single year. Focus on the people that made your brand what it is, GoPro. Lowering the price of entry to buying a GoPro, that is a great step in the right direction. Only Apple gets away with yearly releases whilst upping the price and removing features I don't think even Apple knows how they get away with that. Farewell GoPro sponsorship opportunity. Look, I like GoPro. I'm going to continue to use it for the next year. And I guess I come at this from a place where I don't want to see GoPro disappear. I think they've been absolute pioneers and great for the whole video space, really. But anyway, let me know what you think. Do you use GoPro? Have you jumped to a different brand? If you have jumped to a different brand, I'd love to know what made you do that. Apart from that, until the next time, stay humble, stay true, be a hero. Peace.